Hi, this is Jan of the Jan Files. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Today I'm going to talk about the Epstein files again, the FBI. But first I'm going to make sure everybody is really clear about this. The 218 votes that we're looking for, that we now have, once they finally swear in the new representative from Arizona, doesn't release the Epstein files. What it does is it calls for a vote on the House floor. And that has to happen. And it has to be passed there. It then has to go to the Senate, pass that same vote in terms of approving the release of the Epstein files. And then it has to go to Trump. So, folks, he's going to veto it. The likelihood of there being any kind of two-thirds majority to overturn his veto is, forget it. My focus right now is making sure that we know that there are many other people out there, who know this information or have parts of it. And many of those people are FBI agents. Now, they swear an oath to protect our Constitution and the laws against domestic and foreign, okay? Just like the president does. Let's see, what does exactly that say? It says, defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Now, we know the history of the FBI. We know from way back in J. Edgar Hoover, it's had major problems with following the law. Now, I believe, just like I believe the same thing with police officers, that there are many who deeply care about what they're doing and that they're following the law and that they care deeply about the United States. So let's start with that, because I know those people are out there. And the fact is that the FBI has been part of the Epstein investigation since 1996. Maria Farmer reported Epstein to NYPD, who then brought in the FBI. The FBI did nothing. Then the FBI was brought in again in 2006 for the Palm Beach investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. Why did they do so? They did so because they weren't feeling like the Southern District of Miami, Alex Acosta, the United States Attorney, was doing a good job. So the FBI got involved and prepared an indictment with 60 charges. That was then dropped because of the NPA, which was called the Non-Prosecution Agreement, that Alex Acosta signed, that has no answer for still to this day. And those charges never happened. Those 60 charges never, ever happened. They went away. And there's a memo that was produced in 2008 that says, sorry, let me get this right because I don't want to make this up. An internal FBI memo from 2008 indicated that Epstein had provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. So, the FBI got information from Jeffrey Epstein. About what? About who? We don't know. Okay? We should know. We could know. We don't know. And the point here that I am making is that the FBI and so many people within it do know what happened. They do know whether Trump was involved or not. And if he was, to what extent, and who else was involved. Whether it's Bill Clinton, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Whether it's Ehud Barak, who was the prime minister of Israel, all of that would come out. The FBI and the members of the FBI now have a duty to inform the American public, in my estimation, because a lot of what is happening is not legal. A lot of this is just suppression of evidence, and it's not okay. And it's time for somebody. There are men and women who have been a part of this investigation for decades now that should come out and either be a whistleblower or provide information to a news source or report it to the Inspector General of the DOJ. There are methods for this information to come out, and it is time. Because not only did they provide an indictment of 60 charges in 2000, it probably was 2007, 2008, they also were part of the Epstein case. They went into his Manhattan townhouse and pulled hundreds of files, if not thousands. There was, let me just try to get, first of all, in Palm Beach, they discovered cameras. Although many of them had already been pulled out, they saw where the cameras had been. There are definitely videotapes. There's no question. We know there are photographs. We know there are CDs. And so that is, that's fact. So they know what was in Jeffrey Epstein's files in his safe in the Manhattan townhouse. They have hundreds of, whether it's CDs, videotapes, photographs. There is so much evidence that is not a list, okay? It's not a list. It's hard evidence. And it has not come out. It did not come out in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial because I don't know exactly what the decisions the prosecutors made or the DOJ prosecutors made, but whatever. It is there, it exists, and there are people who know. And it's time to start calling on these people who actually have consciences, who understand that something horrific has happened, that something horrific has been covered up, and they need to do something. They need to stand up. We need to call them out. We should be calling not only our representatives, but, the FBI does have social media. We should be peppering them with, why isn't somebody standing up? Why, in terms of the association, I guess it's like a union of FBI agents, isn't anybody saying it there? The FBI now is losing really good people because they're just being tossed to the side by Kash Patel, who lies daily. I mean, he wants to come for me, then let's say, okay, you come for me, Kash Patel, like you're going to do anything with me. You lie. And we know that. You've lied to Congress. And so the reality is, folks, there are people out there who know. And we need to do whatever we can to say enough. It's time for you to show up as an American. So there are ways to do it without anybody knowing. That would be likely the news. Or you can go to a senator or a congressman and be a whistleblower. The idea is that it has to come from somebody who understands what their duty is to this country under the job they took. So they took to defend our Constitution to enemies, not only foreign, but domestic. That is what needs to happen. And there is tons of evidence that they have seen that need to come out. And it's not going to come out any other way unless the Russians or Israelis, who likely have this information, release it. So it's possible that the president may piss off Putin enough that he drops it. Who knows? And also, The whole Steele dossier was not crap. So, and the FBI knows that too. And they actually used him as a source. There's so many things. He gave us information. The Steele dossier gave information to Fusion GPS, I think it was called. And it was information that needed to be verified. Some of it was verifiable. Others, like the PP tape, has not been verified because the only way that gets verified is if somebody drops the PP tape. So anyway, there are people out there who know, and it's time to start talking about that. Call it out. You know somebody who knows an FBI agent? Tell them. Let's get Andrew. I think Andrew Meisman was, I don't know if he was part of the Yes, he worked with Mueller. So anyway, there are Frank Figliuzzi or whatever his name. There are people there. They don't know, but they know people. It's time to put that pressure on them. I'm not saying to do anything illegal. I am saying to do your duty as an American. Thank you. If you like what you hear, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Take care.